Welcome back to Nerdrotic. My name is Gary Beekler, and I come to you from nerdrotic.com, and I am live in San Francisco, California. And hopefully my picture is good, because the first try at this, it wasn't good. We are here to cover Star Trek Discovery, Season 2, Episode 4, an Obol for Charon or Karen or something like that. But yes, it's good now. That's good. Let's do this. So we get, before I start, where did my thing go? I'm going to be spoiling this episode. So spoilers ahead. I will be doing a brief rundown and then getting to you in the chat because you are the co-host of these things, these live streams we do. I will be doing a breakdown video that will come out sometime tomorrow. I've been a little under the weather the last couple of days, so sorry for no videos. And then I throw two at you today, but one of them was very well timed. Hopefully, the lawsuit reminder video, please check it out. I have an interview with Anas Abdeen. Now, it's a written interview because we have to submit questions to lawyers and stuff, and the lawyers have to approve them and shoot them back to me, and that is great. I also have some insider news that I will be sharing with you a little bit later. That's what you call a tease. So Rebecca Romaine shows up, number one, and listen, Anson Mount, Rebecca Romaine coming on the show. These aren't bad things. The problem is, it's like, I feel so bad for Doug Jones, man, because he doesn't deserve this. He's a good actor. He's a good dude. And he tries to work with what they give him. And it's just, it's so hard to criticize him. But, and I'm not going to. He did a fine job tonight. No criticisms of Doug Jones. I just told Mrs. Nerdrotic she needs to go home. You did? Go Giraffe. Well, that's what the hell is she doing with you? Well, we've been married a long time. I guess she deserves that. That means I get one. Rebecca Romaine, she's on my 5, I think. I think she is. She used to be. So anyway, I get sidetracked. Rebecca Romaine comes number one. She has information about Spock. And it turns out that Spock stole a shuttle and they got his warp signature. They're really worried about it. But Michael Burnham doesn't want to see Spock. She doesn't want to hurt him any further because he is so fragile from what she did to him before. She would probably make it worse. I will say at this one point, I will agree with Michael Burnham. Her interacting with Spock makes things worse, and I don't think she should. I think she should absolutely stick with that. I kind of like the narrative on this one. Maybe those two just never talking to each other again is good. We get to an answer to a lot of, at least one question with the Mycelial network this episode that I will get to. So we have 4 storylines going on in one episode, and that's one of the biggest problems with this damn show. You look at the Orville from last week, and it dealt with Bortus getting a mustache, and then, Claire and Isaac going on a date. And, Star Trek would always have like an A story and a B story, but it wouldn't have an A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Sometimes they mix in a third little one, but man, that's why it worked on episodic television. They're trying to just cram too much, especially coming off of last week. God awful Point of Light. I mean, that episode was so bad. So this one was a less bad episode, but I think this is as good as it's going to get with Star Trek Discovery. Less bad. So they go into warp to go after Spock, and then they're pulled out of warp by a giant living sphere with a stasis field. And it floods the computer with a virus, and all of a sudden everybody's talking to each other in different languages because of the universal translator or because of the sphere. I'm thinking it's because of the sphere, because last time I checked, the universal translator doesn't work like that. It's not a Babel fish. So, so I'm thinking it was because I was confusing. I was like, they're talking about the universal translator and they're speaking different languages. The universal translator wouldn't make them speak different languages, at least not in the Discovery era. So it must be from the sphere. Okay, that's fine. It's from the sphere. We don't know what the sphere wants. It's put a virus into the Discovery. And God, just so there's way too many jokes right now because the STD had an STD within the STD. And then, of course, a couple episodes, the Orville had a virus making fun of the show STD. It's getting funny, folks. I have to say it's getting funny, all the shade the Orville's throwing at it. And then, of course, Star Trek Discovery is trying to be like the Orville. It's throwing in a couple of jokes. They have this meeting around the table, and the alien guy who spit on Mansplainer, who ended up dying, says, "Oh, having a cold sucks." Oh, man, that's so funny when the alien says having a cold sucks, and he's got 6 nasal passages and blah, blah, blah. Yeah, it's not funny. They're trying, but it's just not working. TK, thank you for the $4.99. Michael Burnham's interaction with the audience also makes things worse. Yeah, can we get her to commit to not interact with us as well? That would be so much nicer. Oh, thank you, TK. That made me chuckle. Dakota Stanton for $10. Kelpians are friends, not food. Are you sure? Well, I don't like Kelpians. I imagine would taste like seafood, and I hate seafood. So yeah, that's one of you want to know one of the reasons I didn't go to Japan with Mrs. Nerdrotic. Besides, it would have been very financially irresponsible. I don't like seafood, and I probably would have starved there. Okay, so the Severe pulls the Discovery out, and a bunch of virus things are going on, and people are trapped below decks. Everybody's talking a different language, but Saru has a cold. So Saru has a cold. He wakes up with a cold, and he's looking really sick, but he fixes everything. And Michael is getting a little worried about him, but not much, because he's like, I just have a cold. But he's obviously not telling the truth. Then we have Stamets and Tilly and Jet Reno with her monotone talking with like no variance in her voice whatsoever, which just I couldn't listen to that for very long. So again, I'm going to repeat this from last live stream that I had to cut short. Stamets and Jet Reno had an annoying off, and I think Jet Reno won. I'll leave it to you guys in the chat who was more annoying in them trying to be annoying to each other, but it was annoying. So, but I would say Jet Reno won that. We're trying to figure out what the blue booger wants in the Mycelial network, and it's still alive. They have it trapped, and they want to figure out what it wants. And it turns out Tilly is tripping a little bit because, of course, Mycelial network, and one of the probably Alex Kurtzman, probably started dropping shrooms and got into the real Paul Stamets, the guy with the mushroom hat, and created this whole Mycelial network thing, and then thought, well, of course, we're going to have some people tripping on shrooms because it's funny. Okay, so people are starting to trip out on shrooms, and they got to find a way to contact May to see what May wants. We also find out that the other plot with the big sphere, the sphere is trying to contact the Discovery. It's not trying to destroy it. It's trying to contact it. Of course, Pike is doing his job, and he just wants to stop this thing. He tells Stamets to prepare to jump out if we need to. And we also, so we get to my notes. We find out that Saru has Vahari, and it's a cold. And it's a cold the Kelpians get when they know they're about to die. So his threat testicles come out at the back of his neck. And so he knows he's going to die. His spider sense is tingling. And it has something to do with the culling. So the Vahari has something to do with the culling from the Baiul. Are you following this? Okay. So they either get killed by the Baiul when they get this Vahari, or they go insane. He's got Saru has better sight than everybody, so he's seeing all these ultraviolet lights, so he doesn't know what it is, but he's getting worse and worse. And he finally tells Michael Burnham that he's dying. So in the beginning of the episode, Michael Burnham told Pike that she did not want to interact with Spock. And then in the beginning of the episode, we find out Saru has a cold, and then all of a sudden he's just dying. And he knew he was dying, and it's there's nothing they can do about it. So he's just going to help the ship and die. So we're coming to terms with this throughout the episode. And then Stamets, Jet Reno, and Tilly get zapped by, whatever, 1,000 volts of electricity, and they survive, and Tilly has funny, poofy hair. And then the booger gets on her again. So the booger escapes, it gets on her, and she gets trapped inside the booger. And what they need to do is try to talk to it. So they're going to drill a hole in her head to talk to the booger and find out what the booger wants. In the meantime, they find Saru and Michael Burnham talk Captain Pike into talking to the big sphere with the stasis field because it needs to talk to him. It's just trying to communicate with through virus. That's what they're trying to communicate with us through STD. Maybe some people are trying to send messages like, help, get me off of the show. Please save me. It's too late. Too late for you, kid. You're just going to have to go down with the ship. That's what I say. So you might hear some dogs barking soon because Mrs. Neurotic is on her way home. Maybe from somebody's house. I don't know. Okay, so everybody's shrooming in engineering and being smarmy with each other. We find out that what May wanted, that Stamets was, when he was jumping into the Mycelium network, that is a realm where people live, and every time the Discovery jumped into the network, it's destroying that realm. So that's how they're going to get rid of the tardigrades and the shroom network. And it turns out that, Stamets killed probably thousands, millions, and all he said is asked to be forgiven. He'll make it right, but let Tilly go. And May says she has a plan for Tilly. She doesn't sound very happy about it because she ends up possessing Tilly at some point. So we find out the big sphere in space that's 100,000 years old just wants to be remembered while it's dying. It's dying, and it wants to have somebody remember. So it's going to threaten and kill a bunch of Federation officers, possibly, to not be forgotten. They end up, what the big sphere ends up doing is reversing the polarity. Did you guys catch that? It reversed the polarity. That's a Doctor Who line. You're supposed to use tachyon fields or something like that, or quantum. But it reversed the polarity, so when it exploded, it didn't kill the Discovery. In the meantime, it downloaded 100,000 years of information to the Federation, thanks to Michael Burnham for talking the captain into it, because he wanted to destroy it, but Michael Burnham had to tell him it was okay. So again, Captain Pike cannot make a single decision for himself. No wonder why Kirk took over for him. And, well, he also got hurt. But we also found out that Saru got a cold, was going to die, but then he's okay. They had a big dramatic speech, and then all of a sudden he was just okay. And now he's not fearful anymore. He feels his power, and it sounds like he's come to realization that the whole, the way the Kelpians live is a lie, and he's possibly going to go and try to free his people or whatever. Don't really care at this point. But Doug Jones did a good job in this episode. We didn't see much of Rebecca Romaine. The big sphere thing died and gave all the information to the Discovery, including, you know what? It just happened to know the last location of Spock's shuttle too. Isn't that weird how that just worked out? It just worked out. Things work out. So throughout this episode, I never worry. Telly gets sucked into the shroom again. The shroom tricks her. They get her out of the shroom or the booger, and then she gets tricked and put back into the booger, and she's probably in the Mycelium network now. And that's how the episode ends. Other things happened. There was lots of lens flares and flashy lights and moving camera. And they tried to be funny a couple times, but it wasn't. There's a couple lines here that I had to write down. They brought up empathy. They've been bringing up empathy a lot this season. So my guess is Alex Kurtzman went to therapy during the off season, and he heard of this thing called empathy. Now, it's not something you get a lot of in Hollywood. So it's probably really new to him. He's all, oh, there's this thing called empathy where you have to like feel for people and stuff. Wow. I never heard of that, so I'm going to write it in my script, this new thing called empathy. So, and there's a line where, this is full on Hollywood speak by, because human beings do not talk to each other like this. Even though she's not talking to a human. Okay. Right. Michael Burnham's talking to Saru, and she's all, you are the most empathetic creature I've ever known. And I'm like, that sounds like something two movie stars would say to each other at the Oscars. Like when they congratulate each other for being so realistic, because it's so rare for people to be realistic there. There was also, Michael Burnham asked Saru why he didn't tell her sooner about his cold, because she obviously probably could have cured it. But he said, how do I confide to a woman who fights for her every breath, for her every next breath? And I am somebody who just submits. And I'm like, oh, it's the worst writing ever. It's terrible. So yeah, so even though when an episode is less bad, it's not good. This is as good as it's going to get with Star Trek Discovery. Let's get to you in the chat. And I will be doing a video breaking it down. I will be watching it again. Pray for me. Just pray for me. The Big Red Bear, Canadian $5. So the Federation got, and right? Okay, thank you. So the Federation got 100,000 years of information. Am I hearing that right? You heard it right. That sounds like cancer. The whole thing sounds like cancer. It does. So what Pike said is Michael Burnham and Saru discovered the Dead Sea Scrolls. There was a scene where Tilly was asked to sing her favorite song. Because in the 23rd century, there hasn't been any new music for 300 years. And listen, singing Bowie is fine. I love David Bowie, but I just knew they would pick. I was like, it's going to be Queen, David Bowie, or they mentioned Prince earlier. So it's going to be Queen, David Bowie, or Prince, or a Beatles song. And it was David Bowie. I'm like, oh God, it's so damn typical. Thank you, Big Red Bear, for $5 Canadian. Dakota Stanton, $5. This sphere gave Mickey almost as much info as Asgard gave Earth in Stargate last episode. Yeah. I didn't watch the last episode of Stargate though. Yeah, that's so 100,000 years of information. That must be handy. That must be very handy. Boom, boom, boom. Okay. Oh, that's right. Mark Lazarus, don't forget the sphere vibrated to communicate too. So at least they remembered that they were in space, and they used the radiation that was surrounding the sphere to emulate sound. So they wanted to show you what it sounded like, which, I mean, you can get sounds from stuff in space, like planets make a sound, I guess. But they really want to do that sound in space thing. This reassures me that my writing is already on professional level, at least. Mr. Monkey Lint, your writing is far superior. Just what you wrote in that chat was better. Thank you for watching crap so we don't have to. Dreading Spock's first appearance. They turned Pike into a cuck. It's cucked in Pike. I'm sorry. Did they do a show promo for next week? They did. Jaegerbaum, thank you for the $5. And there is going to be no Spock. I predict Spock will be halfway through the season. They're going to tease it out. They need you to watch as long as possible. I have news on that, so hang on. But thank you, Jaegerbaum, for the $5. Yes, they showed a preview, and they're going to be in the Mycelial network trying to get Tilly. And I'm sure there'll be tons of Alice in Wonderland references like we had in season 1. So the writing was bad, but Soneqa's overacting this episode was particularly annoying. Fickle, did you see the scene where she was crying and there was no tears, and then they cut away and they cut back and there was finally some tears there? But yeah, it was really, really bad. More copying of the Orville. Yes. How sad is that? You're Star Trek and you're copying a Star Trek parody. Ooh. That's man, that's pathetic. It is. Is it a rights issue? Disco Pike can't use a costume and model designs from the cage. How can this be when CBS owns Star Trek? Kevin Rose, that is a great question. Well, the reason they always give is we want to do something cool. We had an opportunity to use canon, but then we had to do something new and refreshing. Oh my God. The last thing these people would know is refreshing. Thank you, Kevin Rose. Yes, indeed. It's well, and the newer uniforms look so much better. Those STD uniforms are terrible. They're terrible, especially when you see them. Even the bad imitation of the older uniforms is better than those terrible, especially those silver bootsy things they're wearing. And it looks like they're wearing a onesie. It looks like they're wearing a onesie. Vin Vega, yes. Gary, are you okay? Are you okay? Did you work out your Wi-Fi problem? Yeah, I restarted my computer and it seems to be okay. Tears, science, Juan Suros, that's right. Hashtag tears, science, and friendships. Friendship, everybody. Yay. They also teased that Discovery will be sinking in the ocean next week. Yes, Joseph. And boy, was I rooting for that. I'm all yes. 100 years of information would have made the Federation more powerful than the Borg by Star Trek II. Stephen Walton, yes. That doesn't add up at all. 100,000 years of detailed information. Do you know what we could do with that? I mean, we don't even have we don't have 1,000 years of detailed information. We might have a few hundred. We don't even have a few hundred years of detailed information. 25% different. You're right, JPRPH1. Moons of Madness. Well, they are accused of stealing video games IPs. Yes, they are. I did a video about that. Thanks for bringing that up. I did an Anas Abdeen interview. It just landed a couple hours ago, so you can check it out after the live stream. About 9 minutes. It's not so bad. KZ Bay. I'm looking up the chat a little bit here. All right. Okay, I already read that one. What the hell, Gary? Going up a little further. How does DNC use formerly DNC scrolling up? Mrs. Neurotic is not a dog. Oh, hell no. No. Oh, hell no. I don't marry no dogs. Newsstand Direct Neurotic. Remember in the late 90s and early 2000s when people were saying TV and movies were creatively bankrupt? If they only knew. No. Oh, man. It kind of goes with, anytime somebody gets older, they're like, my music was better. It sucks. But I think we are the first generation that would be true. Maybe not the generation following us. Maybe, the millennials. Maybe. Kiss, what's up? This all sounds like Pig Latin to me. It is. It is. They might as well have been speaking Pig Latin on the bridge. They reversed the polarity, for Christ's sake. Yeah, there's still something going on here. I can't see. It doesn't show me how many people are watching. Yeah, YouTube is doing some funny stuff. It might be them. Folks, there is a lot of changes going on. They are moving over to a YouTube. There's a thing called Studio that we work in, and they're getting rid of the old one and they're bringing in the new one, and they're separating everything. And I can see right now there's stuff missing on my screen, so that might have had something to do with it. It's not that important. 387 watching. Hey, thanks. 388. That's great. That's fantastic. Usually I can see. It's going up. Hey, now it went down. Damn. Now it went down again. CBS has assumed control, says JPRPH1. Yeah. Guess what? They're not happy. Do you want to hear about that stuff? Let's talk about that stuff. Let me get my Facebook Messenger up, and I will read you some notes that I got from my insider. I think Midnight's Edge is going to release a video maybe tonight concerning Star Trek, and it has some of this information in it. Now, we share an insider, and I also have my own. I have not spoken to my own, like, oh man, I'm gonna have to blow this up a little bit. Hang on, I'm not gonna show you guys, but I'm gonna read it to you. Okay. So apparently there's a little bit of chaos going on. Apparently, this is according to my insider. File this under rumor, please. A Doomcock video put them through the roof. That's what I'm told. And it looks like they were, I don't know how they're going to react to my videos. I don't know if they've even seen it. And I don't care. As long as you guys see it, I don't care. Apparently some of the behavior of fans has gotten their attention. We have certainly gotten their attention. There is some kind of meetings going on. I'm trying to read through this. There's some New York Times article that went up and apparently was paid and it wasn't supposed to show it or something like that. And so what's happening is they aren't getting the clicks they want. They're not getting the views they want. And no decision has been made yet, but they're kind of in desperation mode. They spent apparently like upwards of $1 million in advertising just over a one weekend. Now, that probably wouldn't be much to me, considering they had the Super Bowl on their network. So I'm guessing they had an influx of cash. I'm really surprised they didn't do an article saying, hey, our subscribers are up, 1,000% if because of the Super Bowl. But Star Trek Discovery is on the same thing as the Super Bowl. So, I mean, like I've said before, using that logic, then my views are up 1,000% because I am on the same platform as PewDiePie. I did an oopsie. Now there's a lot of I can't corroborate this, but there's a lot of accusation of and this doesn't come from my insider, this comes from other people. There's a lot of accusation of paid shilling going on, not just by writers of because I don't think writers of websites get paid money. I don't think they get cold hard cash. I think they just get access. Honestly, I don't think they have any contact with CBS. I just think it's known that if I'm nice to CBS and I write friendly stuff, then I will get stuff. There is an example of Marvel Comics. Marvel Comics used to give out comps to websites. Bleeding Cool lost their comps because they stopped writing nice stuff about Marvel Comics. And they started leaning into the drama. Stuff like that happens. Okay. But there is some rumors out there of paid people on Twitter, a lot of new Twitter accounts showing up and popping off. I haven't seen any of it come my way. So I don't know, but I've heard that from other YouTubers. So I honestly, who cares? Who cares? That's what I said in my Anas Abdeen video. If you guys want to like attack me on a show, go ahead. I'm not going to block you. Nothing. Bring it on. Babylon 5 was awesome. I still got to see it, but I can't commit to anything else. Isn't that right, Penn? I've got way too much. I got to catch up on. I got to catch up on Farscape. All right, folks. Let me go here as far. Yeah, I thought there really wasn't much from the insider. It's just some talk, some crosstalk. But the Anas Abdeen interview is good because Susan helped me with the questions because I'm a lame interviewer, and I wanted to know like how he was, how this affects somebody personally when they take on such a huge company. And he's fiery about the whole thing. He is not giving up. He is not going to take a settlement, folks. He feels that strongly about it. And that must be his lawyer telling him. And we do know that CBS, of course, got the best law firm in New York City, the best intellectual property law firm. So I know an intellectual property attorney. I'm going to have him on the channel within the next couple weeks, and he and I are going to have a talk. He's a good dude. So, yes. Yeah, I'm way overcommitted. No, I'm going to have to, yes, justice for Anas. No, I'm dialing a lot of stuff back, to be honest with you. Like in the next 3 weeks, I'm dialing a lot of stuff back. Not the channel, stuff surrounding it though. Got to focus on the channel. Entertainment journalism has a problem as big time sports journalism. Access is too important. Graham Strauss, exactly. That's why I dipped out of sports ball. Everything about it just got lame. Everything about it got lame, and I don't want that to happen to entertainment. And thankfully, there's YouTube. And I don't know if people have figured out for sports ball. I think my oldest son kind of wants to do a channel for sports ball, and good for him. He's really into it still. So, the shame is they could have had a good pre-TOS series that fit right in instead of this. They have to have the narrative to push minds corrupt and American mythology to destroy. Yep. Mr. Monkey Lynn, we can end on that. That is exactly what happened with Doctor Who is what's happening to Star Trek Discovery. They deliberately made these as political decisions. It is without a doubt at this point, because every decision they made, especially Star Trek, more than Doctor Who. Yes, changing the female doctor to a female doctor was a big deal, but Star Trek is like going into their mythology and effing with it. and picking out their biggest character and effing with him. Why would you do that? Who would have the hubris, the gonads to do that? Well, if they find it problematic and they want to insert a character to fix what's problematic about this old series, instead of just accepting that, sometimes they said some sexist things in the 60s Star Trek, because guess what? It was the 60s. It doesn't affect your IP now. I think they're worried that there'll be a day maybe they can't sell that stuff. Or what I'm worried about is they're going to start editing that stuff out. They've already done that to, Mark Twain books, and Steven Spielberg's already done that to his own work. Wouldn't be surprised at all if that starts happening more and more. They start editing stuff out that's problematic. That is when we really need to stop buying stuff. But folks, don't give this thing your money. It's not worth the paywall. And yeah, I hold Star Trek Discovery to a higher standard because it's behind a paywall, and not to a high standard as I hold the Orville, because I still watch it mostly for free, and it's a parody. This is supposed to be Star Trek. You put that label on it, we expect a certain amount of quality, and we're not getting it at all. It's really, really bad. And it really disrespects everything that came before it. Especially when you say first female this and first female that, and I go, we're so diverse. It's like Star Trek has always been diverse, and you're disrespecting when they were diverse, when it was really kind of a big deal. All right. In the 60s, it was a big deal. Cisco. Yeah, I don't remember anybody saying anything about Cisco when DS9 came out. Do you guys remember anything? You remember going, man, I'm not going to watch Star Trek because, oh my God, they got a black captain. I never heard that. Not once. And people love Cisco because he's good. He was a great actor playing a great role as a human being. And all this weird pointing out stuff, I hate it. I hate it. When you have the star of your show, when the biggest star of your show is identifying people by race, that's a problem. So I know, right? Joseph, Cisco was black. Yeah, Cisco's badass. And you know what? In her own way, Janeway was too. But yeah, Kirk's my favorite. And his toupee. He was a toupee American. Editing equals censoring. DeHobbs 9, exactly. And even if it's your own work. Orville is awesome, Christopher. I like it quite a bit. I refuse to pay for STD. Good. Nobody wants to pay for an STD. It's bad enough when you get them for free. Boo! Sorry. Cisco was one of the most badass captains. What he did when the Maquis used, bioweapons on the Cardassians? Yes. He was a badass. He didn't take no shit. My first reaction, holy cow. They got Hawk Spencer for hire. Cool. All right, everybody. I'm going to wrap this thing up. It's gone on a little too long. Again, I'm going to do a breakdown video. I love doing these live chats with you guys, though. These are still my favorite things. So Susan and I will be back Friday night for Friday Night Tights at 7 p.m. I am on the mend. All right. So I'm feeling better. So I feel like I had to call off my Patreon nooner today because I just wasn't feeling it this morning, and I had to finish up that other stuff. But I'm on the mend. Everything will be fine for Friday, and we can talk about DS9 and Babylon 5 as long as you want tomorrow night. It's all about you. So thank you, JPRPH1. Off topic, FYI, Mr. Sci-Fi is considering doing a fan-funded opportunity for Space Command. New vid today. That is not off topic. You can bring him up anytime. I love that guy. I freaking love. Go subscribe to his channel. Like I said, he's first generation nerd. Listen to his Star Trek Discovery reviews. They're spot on. He goes on a little walk and turns on his phone and does a great review. And he's woefully unsubscribed. He's trying to get a show called Space Command going. Right now it's in early stages. It needs a lot of work, but the story is good. It's fundamentally good. So, encore, rock on. Oh, thanks, man. I look great. Oh, thanks. I don't feel great. I don't. Zikri wrote some of DS9's best episodes. He's a genius. Jody, he did. I would argue that he wrote, I would say, one of the best episodes for sure. Wouldn't it be great if he was in charge of Star Trek Discovery? If they just go, I'm sorry about Space Command, but could you come over here and save this show? I would be stoked. I would be so happy. I'd be happier if it was Ronald Moore, but that's me. I'm sure he's doing fine work on Outlander, but yeah, you guys are brilliant. Thank you so much. Thanks for the super chat, JPRPH1, Jaeger Bomb. Good to see you, my friend. Lloyd, oh my God, Lloyd, I'm sorry. $2. Don't hold back and tell us how you really feel. Oh, was I holding back on that one? Sorry. Lloyd, thanks, man. I'm sorry. I missed that. Dakota Stanton, thank you so much. The Big Red Bear, TK, oh man, Graffard, damn it. Go Giraffe. God damn it, I always get that wrong one. And to go to Stan, it's good to see you, my friend. Whoever left the super chat last one that I missed, I don't know if you tried to identify yourself. I will shout you out Friday. I will go through the chat and shout you out. I'm really sorry I missed that. So everybody have a great night. We survived another Star Trek Discovery, and we get to do it again next week. But thank God the Orville's coming back. All right. So you know what, Kevin Rose, thank you so much. It's only great because of you guys. All right. Simply because of you guys. Thank you to all the new subscribers. I dropped a couple of videos. Please, if you have time, please check them out. Tell a friend. Hey, do me a favor. Do Anas a favor. Hashtag justice for Anas. And would you share my lawsuit video? I usually don't ask you guys to. I love it when you do. And I'd like you to share all my videos, but I don't like to ask you guys for too much. You know, you guys give me enough. It's freaking brilliant. But please share that video as much as you can. Get it out there just to get the in the real quick in the interview. He took me to task on something, and he's right. I was identifying him as a small creator, and he's like, I don't like the term small creator, and it's like, I'm not going to use that anymore. I think you're right. It's just creator. He's a creator, but independent creator. That's what we want to try to defend, the independent creators, and that means fellow YouTubers and you guys out there and everybody. So this is really a big deal. If he wins this keeps this from happening again, because Hollywood, one of the dirty little secrets that everybody knows, is rife with plagiarism. I know 2 people who have been plagiarized now. I know 4 people who've worked in or work in Hollywood, and 2 of them have been stolen from horribly. So yeah, it's bad. So yeah, hashtag justice for Anas. Thank you, everybody. You guys are brilliant. I will see you tomorrow night. May the small folks sing songs of your greatness. Live long and prosper.